Alright everyone, hope you're all having a good week. Just thought I'd do a little quick one. We had one of the toilets at the school I work in pack up today. It's not flushing. Got a faulty siphon, which I've been out and bought one when I finish work today, so I'll probably get this fitted tomorrow if I get a chance. Basically just wanted to show you how cheap these sort of things are to buy now, as opposed to the cost of calling a plumber in. So this come from Screwfix and was £3.99. This would be what we'd kind of call your real sort of bog standard siphon. It's sort of a few years back, then really this sort of siphon, that's what was in every toilet really. They were all a pretty standard thing. Now there's quite a few variations now that we've got all these new toilets with your button presses and whatever that work off cables and various things like. But this is your real basic one, so I just thought for £3.99 seems like a good bit of kit. So for your £3.99 you've got the actual siphon itself, just a pretty bog standard thing. You've got a gasket. The way these would work, if you're putting it in a toilet, once you've disconnected everything and you've took the old one out, you imagine you're looking inside the water tank now. All that happens, first you get this rubber gasket, put it on the bottom, push it all the way up so it sits against this rim. Then when you drop this into the toilet, that bit there is what will be pushed against the bottom of the tank. You'll have your watertight seal with a gasket, and then you'll have this big nut. That's what you'll do all the way up to the bottom of the tank, and that'll clamp that into the tank. So you have to do these up fairly tight. You don't have to go crazy on them. It's only a plastic thread, so as long as it feels quite tight, you check for any leaks after you've done it. If it was a close coupled toilet, then that's all you would need. If you've got the more older style of toilet like we've got at the school, where you can actually see the pipe coming out the bottom of the tank, then bending round and pushing into the back of the toilet, then you also need these. So got another washer. This one's actually got a beveled edge, so you would have the bevel pointing up the way towards the water tank. So as you sit that into the nut, you've got the bevel pointing up. Then if you imagine the white pipe coming down to the toilet, you'll just slip that over the top, and then as you'll have this sticking out the bottom, then that beveled edge snugs up against that nicely, and again that's giving you your watertight seal on that, and then obviously your nut will do up onto that. So pretty straightforward item to fit on most toilets, and it's one of them things where you can probably save yourself a nice bit of money. I would imagine majority of the plumbers, if they're coming out to do a job for you, I would imagine most of them probably work along the lines of maybe a £50–60 initial standing charge, like for the first hour they spend out there. So if they do it within an hour, £50–60. If you get a bit of a dodgy plumber who doesn't mind codding you a little bit and maybe drags the job out a little bit and makes out he's had a little bit of a problem and breaks into the second hour, then you might be looking at £80–90, something like that then. And remember, this is a £4 part, so that you're looking at a substantial saving if you ever go at this yourself. What you'd have done in the old days, which people I think very rarely do now, I believe you can still get these, but in the bottom of this siphon, all that is just like thin plastic strip, and what happens is when you pull the handle on the toilet, that lead gets pulled up, and all that's happening there, as you'll see, that pulls up, and all that's basically doing is that's acting as a vacuum. It's sucking the water up there, so the water will come up here, comes over that end, and then drops down this pipe, which is what's going down to your toilet. Once that vacuum effect has started, then the water will just keep running with the weight of the water in the tank pushing down, and the vacuum effect, that will just keep going until you've emptied your tank. And what happens as the water gets down to the bottom here and the air goes under there, then when it gulps up that bubble of air, basically that breaks the siphon effect then, and the water stops running and your tank could fill back up. Now, to save yourself a bit of water, if you're on water meters, they give you the option now of altering how much water it'll go. Now, not all tanks are exactly the same, but the example they're giving on the packaging for this one, if you assume you've got a 9 litre water tank on your particular toilet, it's got 2 bungs on here that can be pulled out. If you leave both of those bungs in there, when you flush the toilet, it will flush 9 litres, assuming you've got a 9 litre tank, then it would flush the full 9 litres. If you want to try and do a little bit for the environment and not flush any more water than you need to, if you were to take that top bung out and install it like that, and you can do this while it's in there, it'd be easy to pull these out. There'd be a little bit of trial and error, changing these around once you've got it in there and seeing how much of a difference it makes. But basically, from taking that top one out, you'll go from doing a full flush of 9 litres to that dropping down to 6 litres. So that's like 3 litre saving on that one. If you feel that's maybe not quite enough water going down there to maybe kind of flush everything away, then the second option you got, leave the top one in and take the bottom one out. Now that will flush a little bit more water now. With that one out, then it goes up back up a litre. You're now up to 7 litres it will flush. So that's your option. So there'll be a little bit of having a little play with that once it's in there and getting that the way you want it. Because the way, say, the siphon works is by gulping the air in there that stops it. So if both of those bungs are in there, your water tank is going to run all the way down till it reaches this point and then goes under there. Whereas, as you can see, if you've took that bung out, then that water is going in there a lot sooner than if it runs all the way down there. So that's the basic way that works. And the other thing I didn't realise with this type, this does also have the dual flush system. So if you just pull the handle and let it go like you normally would, that will do the full flush, depending on the way you've got these orientated. But if you flush it and you actually hold the handle down, then the flush stops a bit sooner. So that's another little option you've got with it. And the other thing I didn't know they did with this particular type, because normally, like I say, being the basic one, you don't normally have too many features with them, but the other one that I always find a comfort to know you've got is if something went wrong with your inlet valve and the water didn't stop flowing into it once your tank had filled up. These actually, so much of the water is sitting in this tube just when it's filled up. Must work off the pressure as it builds up in the tank. It will slowly creep its way up here, and then when it gets to the top it will manage to trickle over. So if something did go wrong with your toilet and you don't have the pipe going through your walls for it to sort of safely get rid of the excess water out of the overflow, then it's good to know that will just continually trickle into your toilet. So I had my toilet that I've got, I probably had about 10 years where it didn't have an actual outlet if something did go wrong with the toilet. So you can imagine the potential damage you could come home to one day if you come home from work and find out your toilet had been overflowing in the bathroom for hours on end. Probably come home to find your kitchen ceiling collapsed and what have you. So that's nice to know that feature's in there. There's lots of different types these days. You might open yours up, and if you've got a more modern toilet, the concealed systems and that, then they actually work different to these. All you'll find is basically a straight tube, and it doesn't actually work on that siphon effect. All it basically is, if you imagine that bottom bit, all it is a hole in the bottom, and it's just a rubber bung sits over the top of it. As you press the button, it basically just lifts and lets the water go down the hole. So they're a little bit more simplistic and much more the sort of what most people have got these days. I say for £3.99 I just thought seemed like a well built bit of kit and do us ideally at school. We've got a bit of a mixture at the school of old toilets and new toilets. So the last 4 or 5 weeks I seem to be doing nothing but pulling toilets apart, with ones going wrong at school. I've had one friend, hers broke the button on hers, so I managed to tell her how to fix that over the phone, and then my boss's daughter fell against her toilet and broke it, actually smashed the toilet. So he got me to go around and I've actually fitted her a brand new toilet, so she was a happy bunny. So, but something as simple as this, I think, even if you're not the type who is really big sort of hands-on DIY sort of person, I still think majority of people, if you just watch a couple of videos on YouTube, I've got at least one on there showing you how to do this when I was down redoing my bathroom suite, but there are loads of them. I think the average person who even particularly DIY handy, you watch a couple of videos, I think you can do this, and you're looking at a pretty substantial saving. So that's it really. If you are interested, just for the record, from Screwfix, the code for it, if you were to go to the screwfix.com website and punch the code into their search engine, it's 20824. It's £3.99, and I've got loads of various other ones, your more modern type ones, for again only £11 or £12. So even for the new type, it's still a good saving. Right, that's it from me for now. Hopefully I'll get a chance to do it tomorrow. Catch you all later.